供述から L の開発は未大寺が一人で行っていたことがほぼ確定的となった。
Greetings everyone and welcome back to Dracu-riot. Let's continue.
未大寺が蓮沢から入手したデータをもとにそれが行われたことも間違いなさそうだ。
では、やはり蓮沢正三郎が裏にいるということでしょうか。
未大寺は未だ蓮沢に関しては口を閉ざしているが、そう考えるべきだろうな。だが蓮沢とのコンタクトは常に未大寺が一人で取っていたらしい。未大寺の部下たちは誰一人蓮沢の姿も声も確認していないようだ。
未大寺さんの狂言の可能性もあるということですか？
Who knows? You have to consider that she began targeting Rio and me only recently after acquiring information. I think the main question here is whether Hasuzawa is the only one who could have given her the information.
ああ、蓮沢の生存自体に懐疑的な見方もある。いずれにせよ、今後は蓮沢を重要参考人として捜査していくことになるだろう。
Chief, I was wondering if I could question her.
未大寺の取り調べをムツラはか？
She's a researcher, so she should be interested in me. We might be able to get some information on Hasuzawa out of her.
少し検討する必要があるな。とりあえずお前の意見は分かった。結論はもう少し待ってくれ。
Roger that, thanks. According to our testimonies, Midai was extremely methodical. She recorded every step of her research in fine detail. Our guesses were correct in that she took her ideas from Hasuzawa's research data to develop L. However, there are some discrepancies when it comes to the exact details. With the project in Russia hitting a setback, the first thing that Midai did after returning was visit Hasuzawa, partly because they hadn't been keeping in touch. However, his home was empty. She tried asking the laboratories and researchers that he was affiliated with, but they didn't know either. She also checked out the laboratory that he used when he is doing personal research. He wasn't there either, but there were some documents and research data on his artificial lycanthrope plan. Although she was proud to be his assistant, it was the first time she found out about a plan like this. The plan was drafted before she went to Russia. Since Hasuzawa was the one who prompted her to go to Russia, she realized that he was simply driving her away. Assuming the time of this plan was correct, he may not have withdrawn from public research on the vampire virus, but rather kicked out. And thus, the desire for revenge grew within Midai. Using the fragmented pieces of data as a start, she proceeded with research on artificial lycanthropes. The result was L. The original purpose of L was to alter a vampire's somatic cells to become that of a lycanthrope's. The observed effects are heightened mental states, appetite, sexual desire, and thirst for blood, amongst other increases in desires. However, it was found that the drug gradually destroyed one's somatic cells. Faced with a funding difficulty to continue her research, she got the idea to sell this drug that she created by coincidence as a vampire drug. At first, she thought that having the funds for her research was enough. However, Elle's popularity exceeded her initial expectations.
まっとうに考えれば、吸血鬼医療の方面での利用もできそうだと思うのだけれど、どうしてこんな売り方をしてしまったのかしら。
She probably believed that Hasuzawa would definitely return.
研究の成果を見せることが復讐になると思っていたんでしょ。だったら公共の研究に寄与した方が。
私はなんとなくわかるかな。復讐って言っても自分の方がすごい研究結果を出してるって自慢したいわけじゃなくて、ただ認めてもらいたかったんだと思う。
Furthermore, the artificial lycanthrope project was an absolute secret. She probably didn't want to reveal that her research was based off that.
なるほどね。もしかしたら未大寺の女心というのもあるのかしら。
I wouldn't know. Hasuzawa and Midaiji's ages were so far apart they could have been parent and child, and both were single.
こういう新 頭のいい人の恋愛って想像しがたいよね。
I'm not suggesting anything, just so you know. I tell her in advance in case a wrong image enters her head again and she starts blaming it on me.
私の考えてることを読まないでちょうだい。いやらしいわね。
It seems that it didn't make much difference.
ムツラ、未大寺の取り調べの件だが許可が下りた。
Thank you.
君は
Mutsura Yuto.
なるほど。確かに普通の若者だな。むしろ吸血鬼よりも人間の雰囲気に近い。
She speaks to me in an unexpectedly normal way. My life as a vampire has been fairly brief so far.
そうなのか。
Apparently, she was keeping her mouth shut on information pertaining to Hasuzawa, but she doesn't seem to be refusing to talk at all. Come to think of it, the testimonies were fairly detailed. How much do you know about me? She turned silent at my question. I guess this isn't going to be easy. However, I can tell that she's observing me carefully. She's at least somewhat curious about me. You might not believe me if I told you this. I want to know more about myself rather than the case itself. You were the one who called me, right? I went to the place we agreed on. Your turn now. Letting out a sigh, I ask her again. Why did my body become like this? Her stare is sharp. However, compared to the photo I first received from Avaji, it's clear that her eyes show wariness. Although she may have aged since that photo was taken, I doubt so much time has passed that the impression I'm getting would be different. Maybe getting arrested has made her depressed?
すまないが、
She suddenly opens her mouth.
君のことも稲村理央のことも詳しいことは何も知らない。私が知っているのは六浦優斗と稲村理央が人造来館スロープ計画による数少ない成功例だということだけ。初めから君たちのような例が存在すると知っていたら私が L を作り出すこともなかっただろう。
So that really is the case. She wasn't directly involved with the artificial lycanthrope project. I guess if there's someone who knows, it would have to be Hasuzawa Shozaburo. I've read the testimonies, so just how close is your research to the original project?
逆に問おう。君は人造来館スロープ計画についてどの程度知っている？
I heard that it involved running experiments with lycanthropes. That's about it. I answer honestly, to which she nods.
私はその本物の来館スロープどころかその研究データさえ断片的にしか入手できていなかった。同じ研究ができるはずがない。だがその断片的なデータの中に体細胞に関するものがあった。私はこのデータからならロシアでの研究が活かせると踏んだんだ。私はロシアで吸血鬼の各種受容体の研究を担当していてね。と言っても専門的な話は君にはわからないか。
I suppose not. Scientific topics wouldn't do much good for me.
かなり大雑把な話になるが、生物の細胞には外界からの情報やエネルギーを受け取る入れ物があると考えてくれ。単純な話、吸血鬼はこの入れ物が人間より大きい。各細胞が受け取る情報が多いゆえに視覚や聴覚といった五感が鋭敏になり、受け取るエネルギーが大きいゆえに身体能力も大きなものとなる。
Interesting.
この受容体の維持にヴァンパイアウイルスが深く関わっている。人間がヴァンパイアウイルスを適切な方法で取り込むことで吸血鬼になれるのは、ヴァンパイアウイルスが受容体を変質させているからだ。
Her explanation is extremely straightforward. She said this was a rough explanation, so she's probably summarizing and skipping out on the details to make it easier to understand.
そして来館スロープの体細胞に関するデータから、その受容体が吸血鬼のものとはさらに異なっていることを私は発見した。 人間の受容体を吸血鬼のものへと変質させることができるのならば、吸血鬼のそれをライカンスロープのものに変質させることも可能だろう。そう考えた私はそれを作り出すべく実験を繰り返した。その結果作られたのがライカントロピー、いわゆる L だ。吸血鬼の受容体をライカンスロープのそれにするという当初の目的が達成されたとは言えないが、次につながる成果は出せたと思う。
My stomach feels heavy. If she doesn't feel any regret for creating L, she doesn't feel any guilt whatsoever. That being said, she doesn't seem too proud of it. It's as if this person, Midai Kiyomi, lives for the sake of research.
だが、そんなものでは絶対にライカンスロープは作れないということも分かった。私はアプローチを間違えていた。
What do you mean?
たとえそっくりの入れ物を作り出すことができたとしても、中身がなければライカンスロープにはなり得ない。そしてその逆に、中身に適合さえすれば入れ物は中身に合わせて変質する。中身というのはつまりライカンスロープ因子と呼ばれるもののことだがね。
That's what they collected from real lycanthropes. I guess you could call it the backbone of the artificial lycanthrope project. I see now. L wasn't created to imitate lycanthrope cells, but is a product of Midaiji's original theory from her research on receptors. Professor Hasusawa didn't leave behind any information on lycanthrope cells in his laboratory, did he? I guess not. Otherwise, you wouldn't have created L and distributed it. Where did you acquire information on lycanthrope cells? There's also one more thing that's been bothering me.
聞こう。
You said this at first. Leo and I are one of the few successful products of the Artificial Lycanthrope project. That plan was thwarted 4 years ago by someone, along with the collapse of the organization. Around the time, neither Rio nor I had awoken as lycanthropes, or rather, not even as vampires. We can't be successes if we are not lycanthropes. Only those who are aware that we've awoken as lycanthropes would consider us successful products. In that case, who? Aside from Rio and me, there's the mayor, Anna, Miu, and the doctor. None of these people are related to Hasusawa. Actually, never mind me, who knows that Rio is a lycanthrope. Rio herself only found out when she saved me. Who's the one giving you information about us? I highly doubt it's Hasusawa Shuzaburo, because things wouldn't make sense.
なんだと？
The look in her eyes changes. She stares at me with resentment in her eyes. Did I make her angry or something? Was there something insulting in what I said? If there is, it must be. So Hasusawa was the one who provided you with information after all?
そうだ。
So he's still alive. But how does he know about us?
それは私にもわからない。だが、間違いなくあの方だ。研究についてのやりとりもしたのでね。もしあの方を語る者がいるのならば、私は絶対にそいつを許さない。
I've confirmed that Hasusawa was providing Midai information. It seems that the attempts to catch Rio and me were his ideas.
よくやったムツラ。だが、蓮沢に関してはむしろ謎が残るな。この4年間どこで何をやっていたのか、何のために未大寺にそんな情報を流したのか。
Yeah, I've been wondering too, as well as how he found out about Rio and me. Also, it seems that Midai has doubts about him herself.
Oh?
Based on what she said, she seemed confident that it was him. However, it looked as if she was trying to convince herself that. Towards the end, she added this.
教授はどうしてご自分で研究されようとはしなかったんだろう。
だが未大寺はもともと蓮沢の助手だったんだろう。 助手にやらせてその研究結果を引き上げるなんていうのはよくある話じゃないのか？
Judging by how she said that, their relationship doesn't seem to be like that. But that's just my hunch.
とりあえずは分かった。ともかく蓮沢の居所を何としてでも抑えなければならんな。
It seems that the answer to the question of just who gave Midai the information is the key to solving this case. I'm back!
おかえりなさい、ゆうとさん。
The fatigue from the investigation slowly disappears when Ryo greets me with a smile. I can feel her feelings just by locking gazes. It seems that she feels that way too and smiles shyly.
おかえりなさいのキスとかしないの？キスとか、エッチなこと人前でなんかしないもん。
If the others weren't around, I'd want to kiss her too.
あんなエッチなキスか。
人前でなければしてしまうのでしょうね。
ダメだよ。寮の中でそんなエッチなキスしちゃうのは寮則違反だから。
そうは言ってもゆうとくんとりおくんはもう公認のカップルだからね。プライベートルームでプライベートなことをするのを止めることはできないな。
Good point. Let's go to my room.
そういうことでしたら。
She hurries over and pulls on my sleeve. Actually, I meant that as a joke.
私、恥ずかしい。
Ah, wait, Ryo! Crap, she ran off. I feel bad now.
ゆうとが泣かした。
でも稲村さんも優斗の部屋に行く気満々に見えたわ。優斗にすっかり調教とかされてしまっているのかしら。
だからそういう行為は寮では禁止だってば。せめて二人きりの時だけにしてよ。
二人きりの時なら寮の至るところでセックスしちゃって OK？ 例えばこのテーブルに裸エプロン姿のリオが手をついてこう。
Don't act it out!
いいじゃん。テーブルに手をつくくらい。
I wouldn't do something so rough, like pound her from behind whilst she's wearing nothing but an apron. Probably.
寮の至るところであんなことやこんなことが。
カメラ仕掛けておこうよ。カメラすごいの撮れるかも。いやー、そんな学生寮は嫌。
Guys? Things have become a whole of chaos.
ゆうとくん、ここは僕に任せてリオくんの方を頼むよ。僕としてはそろそろ朝の匂いいただきたくてね。
Thanks, Nicola. You're a lifesaver.
稲村さんの部屋に行くつもりなのかしら。稲村さん。
まあゆうとくんがリオくんを連れてきてくれないといつまで経っても朝食にありつけないじゃないか。
Although his behavior and speech are the most eccentric, I'm glad Nicola actually has common sense.